from betterbizacademy.com here. This video, I'm going to talk to you specifically about how to have a high job success score on Upwork. One of the most common questions that I get over email is about the job success score on Upwork. Now, bear in mind that it's definitely important to be concerned about the success score that the site is awarding you, but I really want you to focus on your marketing efforts and delivering an amazing experience to your clients, regardless of that job success score. Now, the job success score differently takes into account many different factors that will ultimately give you a percentage sort of approval rate, or what Upwork deems to be the amount of times in all the jobs you've had that you've delivered a great experience to that client. Now, I'm going to tell you something, and it's going to be hard to hear. Not every client is going to be thrilled with your work, even if your work is amazing. There are always a handful of clients who will not leave you a 5.0 star rating on Upwork, who will not leave you glowing feedback. That's okay. We're aiming to have everybody else leave you that feedback and not worry about those handful of people. Now, if you end up working with a client and you give them a really bad experience, you turn things in late, there's a lot of miscommunications, and the client is frustrated, they're well within their rights to exercise leaving you a low review. Low reviews are especially damaging to new freelancers on Upwork because you don't have hundreds of jobs behind you. So here's what makes it different when a brand new freelancer gets a bad feedback rating on one job versus, let's say that I had a client that today left me negative feedback. Now, I've had hundreds of jobs on the Upwork platform, so if somebody leaves me negative feedback, there's no doubt that it'll have an impact on my job success score and could potentially turn new clients away from working with me. However, because it's in the midst of hundreds of other positive and 5-star feedback comments, anyone looking at that might say, oh, that person was just someone who couldn't be pleased, or they might not even see it at all. But if you've only had 3 jobs and you're that new freelancer, having even one low feedback score can be really detrimental to your business, because clients are going to look at that, much like we use sites like eBay or Yelp to help us make decisions about who we're going to do business with. Your clients view the Upwork job success score the same way. Now, this isn't to say that if your job success score is 92% or 94%, you're not going to land business. That's not true. I've had that as a job success score before. It works fine. Where it starts to become a problem is when your job success score slips below 80 or even 70%. Even lower than 90% is taking you out of the running for a lot of jobs. Why? Because clients have a choice. And given the opportunity to work with somebody who has a 95% success rating versus 75%, the choice seems clear to them, even if it was just a disgruntled client who left you 1-star feedback. So you need to be mindful of your job success score. So what can you do in these situations where it's going south, it's not going to work with the client? If it's very clear that you're not going to be able to rectify the situation with the client and you're concerned about your job success score, I do recommend canceling the job and refunding their money. Now, of course, Upwork takes that into account too. That's not a way to shield yourself from an impact on your job success score. However, it's definitely better to be a professional and end the job and take the hit in the form of a refund rather than have that person leave a 1-star feedback review on your profile. And it's really hard to let money go and to let contracts go when you've counted on it and you've probably already worked on it. Now, if it's a situation where there's a lot of money at stake and you don't feel that it's fair that the client receive a full refund and you close out the job, I encourage you to talk with the client about what you can do to make it right. Because even if things have been, plagued by a miscommunication at this point and are difficult to work through, it's better to at least show that you tried to resolve things, right? So the client may back down. They may realize that your job success score and your future freelance work could be impacted. Most of the time when clients on Upwork leave bad feedback for contractors, it's because the client had a really bad experience and they legitimately feel they need to air their grievances to do that. It's extremely rare for someone to have a good experience with you and then just blast you with low feedback that destroys your job success score. I think a lot of people think that's the perception, but the truth is every time I've dug in deeper on these situations, I find out that there's something the contractor could have done better and they didn't handle it quite professionally, so the client felt as though they had no other choice but to air their grievances in that way. So first lesson is, if you're in the position where the job is in trouble and you don't want to refund it and cancel it out, I would try to work with the client. Could you be paid for what you've done so far and just close the job out and leave it at that? Could you negotiate something where if there was a mistake made on your end, you will apply a discount or you will apply a partial refund? I'm not saying you need to do this with every client, and it's actually very much the exception rather than the rule, but something to consider, because a bad client experience, especially when you're new, is so damaging. If you only have a couple of jobs on your Upwork profile and all of them have negative feedback from the client, that is a really bad sign, and it's going to be almost impossible for you to get future work. So somebody like me or other freelancers that I know that have hundreds of jobs on Upwork and lots of positive feedback, one negative piece of feedback is not going to destroy their career. However, if you've only had 3 clients and one left you average feedback and another left you bad feedback and another left you perfect, it kind of doesn't measure up in the end. So from a client's perspective, they're thinking there's a 33 or 66% chance that things aren't going to go well with the project. When you start out as a freelancer on Upwork, your first couple of clients are crucial. So much easier to start at a 100% success rating and try to maintain it than to go from 70 or 80% and try to push it up. Start out strong and keep it strong. You're going to be much more successful that way. So focus on delivering that 5-star experience for your clients. When you do finish a job, I encourage you to tell the client about the importance of feedback. That helps your job success score. They will leave you positive feedback. You additionally get the chance to leave them some feedback, and that's going to be beneficial for your job success score when they're leaving that positive feedback. Another thing to be cautious of, there's controversy over this. However, it's a strategy that I apply. I don't believe that it helps your job success score to have jobs that are open for months and months at a time where there's no activity. So, for example, if a client hired me 6 months ago and I did some copy and they were like, oh, we're busy, we'll get back to you later, and then they never did, I'm eventually going to give them a 30-day notice that I'm going to close out that contract. It has a couple of other negative effects outside of your job success score. I don't know the extent to which it affects your job success score, but I think it's misleading to have an open job on Upwork. It could tell other new potential clients that you're fully booked, right? So if you have 3 or 4 open jobs on Upwork, but there's been no activity on them in months, a client browsing your profile and looking at it for 30 seconds or less can't tell that. They're just going to say, oh, she's busy. I'm not even going to invite her to my job. So I like to close those out to keep things clean on my profile. So go through and check in with your clients every so often and say, hey, I noticed it's been a while since we've had a milestone or since this contract was active. Do you still need whatever service was being offered, and see what they say. I close those jobs out. I've had other freelancers tell me, oh, I don't think it affects your job success score. For me, it's kind of a decluttering thing, and I don't want it to be misleading to clients who actually do want me to do work right now, to make it seem as though they have these open jobs on Upwork when I really don't. So no matter where you're at in your Upwork journey, be a professional and always deliver a great experience to the client. And then, of course, prompt them to leave you feedback. They don't always understand how important it is for that feedback, especially if it's a client new to Upwork. Tell them when the job is concluded, hey, I'm going to go ahead and mark this contract as complete. Just an FYI, a huge part of my ability to get future clients is based on the feedback that you leave me. If you could spend 2 minutes and rate me here on Upwork, it would help me a lot. So that's a great way to have a good job success score. And of course, the obvious things stand about not not trashing your job success score anyways. And that means, not violating the terms of service, not having multiple projects canceled and refunds, not having clients who are filing disputes against you or having to reach out to Upwork customer service. Be a professional. Treat this as your job, which it is, right? Even if Upwork is only a portion of your marketing efforts, treat it like it deserves the attention that you're giving to it. So make sure that you treat every single client professionally and strive for that 5-star feedback. It's really important. It's so much easier to maintain a profile on Upwork rather than to try to claw your way back in when you've been dinged for low feedback on your job success score. Be a professional, deliver amazing work, and stick to the deadlines that you set with the client. Then the client is thrilled to leave you 5-star feedback, and this only pushes your job success score up higher and higher. Implementing these tips has helped me improve my job success score from 92% all the way to where it's currently at, which is 98%. Anything 90% and above is great for a freelancer on the Upwork platform. So I encourage you to think about how you can make things easier for your clients and show them the amazing freelancer that you are. For more tips about using Upwork and other freelance marketing tactics, check out betterbizacademy.com or my podcast, Better Biz Academy.